Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video. Today's video is also kind of unscripted and just kind of casual, and I just kind of wanted a little bit of a rant at you guys, if that's okay. Bethany from Girl Defined has been posting a lot on Instagram in the last month, specifically a lot of really transphobic stuff, and obviously this upsets me and a lot of people, and it's her posts about motherhood that are the problem. Like, yes, we get it. She's a mum. Great. She wants to celebrate that. Great. She wants to talk about how much she loves being a mum. Great. All that stuff is good. But she doesn't need to do that by putting down other people. And she has made a series of posts recently that I and a lot of other people have an obvious problem with, and they're kind of what I want to kind of talk about today and read to you and then sort of discuss, because not only is she kind of insulting women who have fertility issues, although she has since come out and said, no, I didn't mean to insult them, only everyone else. I know. But not only is she kind of insulting those women, but she's been completely dismissive of cisgender women like myself who don't want to have kids and choose not to have kids, and she's been incredibly dismissive and downright rude to transgender men and women in various ways, and that's kind of what I want to talk about today. So these posts are a little bit old now, they're a couple of weeks old, but they annoyed me a lot when I first saw them, so I want to give myself time to calm down before making a video. I don't have anything planned for this, so I figured I'll just kind of like read out the posts and share thoughts as we go on. So Bethany writes, "Thoughts about motherhood have been on my heart lately. I was so saddened to see the applause and praise for the graduation speech by..." I'm not going to say this person's name because I'm not sure if they're a child or not, but on the necessity for abortion. You guys know how I feel about abortion and how I'm very pro-choice, and there is science backing up my beliefs and where I think we should draw lines about when abortion should be allowed up to and so on. I did a great collab with Holy Kool-Aid if you want to go check that out to hear about my views and the science backing it up, but safe to say I'm pro-choice. Now that doesn't mean I think everyone should be allowed abortion right up to the 9-month mark. That's not at all what I'm saying, but I think up to the point where a fetus can feel pain, has some level of conscious brain activity, and is able to survive outside the womb for themselves. Up until that point, I think it's fair game what the person who's carrying it does with their body. Anyway, that's just a summary, not the point. Blah, blah, back to Bethany. Young women have been lied to and they are believing every word of it. Young women are being told that their lives will be ruined if they have a baby. If they become a mum, if they nurture and bring a human into the world, they are told that there is a war against their bodies. How sad is that? How sad that one of the most unique, special, and almost magical things about being a woman, having the ability to produce life and bring it into the world, is viewed as a curse in many ways. Now this is where she just strawmans, and this is a thing that Girl Defined do constantly. They build up these straw man arguments just so they can try and blow them down easily, and it's ridiculous. Women aren't being told, oh, childbirth is a curse, oh, you shouldn't have a baby, oh, stop this, women. It's simply just becoming more normalised for every kind of woman to speak about their experience, whether they can have children or not, whether they want to have children or not. It's becoming more acceptable for all kinds of lifestyles and all kinds of women to do what they want, and that's okay. Nothing's being forced on anyone. The problem arises when motherhood is forced on people like me who don't want it, or when people are told that they shouldn't have children just because they don't have the biological ability to carry one. That's when there's a problem, and Bethany doesn't seem to understand this. No one is being told your lives will be ruined if you have a baby. No one is outright being told that, but there are people like me who are saying, if I have a baby, my life will be ruined because this is not something I want for myself. This is not something I feel comfortable taking on in my life. I don't think I could adequately care for a baby. There's a huge difference between an individual saying, this isn't right for me, this will ruin my life, and Bethany trying to argue, everyone's saying this, womanhood, pregnancy, motherhood, such magnificent gifts we've been given by God. But no, not according to the culture around us. A baby is only valuable if it's wanted by the mother. If not, it's just tissue to be murdered as soon as possible. A curse, a thing that will ruin your life. I have thoughts about this, and I'm trying to make sure I word it in the right way. I guess one of the big thoughts that I have about this is that I do think if you're bringing a baby into the world, if you're carrying a baby, if you're going to go through the pregnancy, I do think that baby needs to be wanted. I don't think you should bring an unwanted baby into this world. If you're unable to care for that baby, if you don't want a baby, I don't think you should have it. And it's very easy for people like Bethany to be like, well, adoption, well, fostering, these are all there. And I'm like, yes, but do you know how much of a strain that is on the economy? Do you know how many babies and children grow up without a home because they're unable to be fostered or adopted or whatever? How many children later in life are taken away from parents who can't cope with them, and then they're stuck in the foster care system, which is a strain economically, but also that child doesn't have the best quality of life. If you want to make abortion illegal, and some people don't like me making this argument because they're like Cosmic Skeptic was all like, oh, you can't make babies about money. And I'm like, yes, actually, you can. Because in the real world, if you want to say, I'm banning all abortion, and you take into account all the abortions that have happened, and if they went on to be born, you are going to need extra billions of dollars per year in healthcare costs for the pregnancy, in healthcare costs for the birth, in healthcare costs for the baby when it's born. You're going to need extra billions in social care and social services. You're going to need extra billions put into education, into housing, into just looking after these children for the rest of their lives. And you need billions upon billions upon billions every year. Where do you get that money from? Also, tissue to be murdered isn't possible. You don't murder tissue. If someone needs a limb amputated, you don't call it murder. If someone needs cancer cells removing, you don't call it murder. If someone takes medication to remove a parasite or worms or something like that, you don't call it murder. She goes on later to say, please don't believe the lie that true happiness and satisfaction is only found in being and doing anything other than motherhood. God is our designer and he knows best. So ridiculous. Like, okay, great that you find so much, what were your words? True happiness and satisfaction. I'm glad that Bethany finds that in motherhood and raising children. I wouldn't. It would make me miserable. It would be a shame for me to bring any children into the world because they wouldn't have the best mother possible. It's not fair on anyone. Stop pushing your ideals on other people. Anyway, this is just a regular pro-life rant. I've had plenty of these. She then backed this up later by posting this. And this is what really annoyed me because this is so incredibly transphobic, it's revolting. And here's the thing, when we speak about, especially when it comes to things like childbirth and stuff, sometimes people slip, I've slipped up myself, and you say things that aren't the most inclusive, you use language that isn't the most inclusive, and it's something that we should try and work on and try and avoid and try and be better at. So for example, sometimes just very generally I'll talk about oh, when women get abortions and blah blah blah, but we have to remember that sometimes transgender men need abortions, non-binary people need abortions, and so just using the women label isn't the most inclusive, and that is something to work on and something to change, and but they're mistakes, that happens, you correct it. This is outright purposeful transphobia. There's a huge difference between making a mistake in not being as inclusive as you should, and this, which is exclusionary, and this is not okay. She writes, I am not a birthing person, I am not a chest-feeding person, I am not a pregnant person. Let's stop this insane, ridiculous, and degrading talk. I am a woman, I am female, I am a woman who gives birth, I am a mum who breastfeeds my baby. I won't allow anyone to pretend that those are generic things that any person can do. I refuse to give in to the pressure to pretend that a man can be a woman. I refuse to give in to the false idea that a man can give birth or breastfeed a baby. Those are beautiful aspects of womanhood that men can never and will never be able to live out. I don't normally resort to personal insults, but in this case, I'm willing to change that. You're disgusting. Your views are disgusting. Your words are disgusting. Your actions are disgusting. You're disgusting. And also, can we just talk about logically for a second how ridiculous and wrong she is? She absolutely is a birthing person because she is a person who was given birth. She is a chest-feeding person because she is a person who has breastfed a baby. She has been a pregnant person because she is a person who was pregnant. It's not insane or ridiculous or degrading, it's factual. I am a woman, I am female, I'm a woman who gives birth, I'm a mum who breastfeeds my baby. All of that is absolutely true, but I'm also a woman. I am also female, but that doesn't make me a mother, and that's never going to make me a mother. That's never going to make me a birthing person. That's never going to make me a breastfeeding person or a chest-feeding person. I'm never going to be a pregnant person. Being a woman and giving birth are not the same thing, and they don't have to be the same thing. And we have to understand that there are lots of different people who go through lots of different experiences, and one person's experience doesn't diminish your own. You, Bethany, can be a woman, a female, a birthing person, a breastfeeding person, a pregnant person. You can be all those things without it affecting anyone else's experience, and other people's experiences don't affect or lessen yours in any way. Just because transgender men still have uteruses and can get pregnant, that doesn't make you any less of a pregnant person or a woman. It doesn't make them any less than of a man or a pregnant person either. Being inclusive in your language doesn't diminish your experience at all, but you diminishing other people's experiences like this is harmful. You purposely using exclusionary language does diminish their experiences, and that's not okay. This upsets me a little bit, I'll be honest. It really does. What gives someone like Bethany the right to say you can't be a woman, or you can't be a mother, or you can't do this, or you're not gonna have this label that I give myself because I won't allow it? What the hell gives Bethany the right to do? I know she'll be like, oh, because God says, but no, it's not okay. I'm very angry today, I'm sorry, this upsets me a lot. I hate how Bethany brings everything back to, like, uteruses, and for me there's very little of a link between motherhood and femininity. I think of myself as a very feminine person. I love being feminine, I love being womanly, I love being girly, and I happen to be a cisgender woman as well. But I'm never going to be a mother. That said, I know plenty of people who will be mothers and who are mothers without being overtly feminine and girly and whatever. And there are plenty of people who are transgender, who are feminine and womanly and beautiful, who will never be able to physically give birth to a baby, but who will still want to be mothers. Does this make sense? I say this in so many videos, but there's so many different experiences that people have, and it's not fair to crap on other people's just because you don't understand it. If I sat here and said, well, you know what, Bethany, I don't think you're really a mother, and I don't think you're really a woman, and I'm going to start using he and him pronouns for you because I personally think you fit my idea of a man in my head, and therefore that's all that matters. I'm going to start acting as though you're a man. I'm going to ignore your own personal experiences with your gender and identity. I'm going to crap all over you being a mother and your family. If I sat here and did all that, she would have a fit, and understandably so. Me using he, him pronouns for Bethany is as insulting and as rude and unacceptable as it is for her to use the wrong pronouns for other people on purpose. Me crapping all over her experience of motherhood is as rude and unacceptable as it is for her to crap all over other people's experiences of motherhood or lack of. And I don't think she understands this. There's this double standard there for her, and it's not okay. She's posted so many other things recently. She reposted something recently from this person called Hannah, saying, confirming and aiding mental illness has become the new trend in society. Life is about challenges. It's about dealing with things you don't like, i.e. the body you were born in. This generation is driving us to the grave with this if you don't like something, change it mentality. No, it's not. It's just finally taking personal accountability and doing something about your life to make yourself happy, instead of living in misery like people like Bethany seem to want everyone to do. Society will call it respecting desired pronouns. Reality knows it's lying. Society will call it accepting the community. Reality knows it's running away from reality. Ridiculous. I don't understand why people get so upset or insulted by someone just saying, hey, I prefer to be called this. Like, yeah, cool, okay. When someone tells you their name, you don't question it, do you? So why would you question their pronouns? You don't sit there and say, well, actually, I'd like to see your birth certificate before I call you Bethany, because I don't know that's your real name. Therefore, I'm going to need to see some actual real proof before I do that. You don't do that, so I don't get why you do it with pronouns either. If someone says, I prefer X, Y, and Z pronouns, you use those pronouns. It's not difficult, it's not hard, it's not putting you out, it's not challenging anything, because it's a small thing for you to do that makes an entire difference in someone else's life. You can help them feel accepted and loved and comfortable and confident. And the fact that you're choosing not to, just to be controversial, is a douchebag move. I don't know. Anyway, she's also decided to be, like, just ridiculous as well. So, like, you know how now Instagram gives you the option to put your pronouns in your bio if you want, which I think is a great idea, because I was always running out of characters before, so I'd never included my pronouns, because honestly my gender identity is not a big part of who I am. I prefer talking about other things. But that's just a personal preference. Some people, it is a big part of them and they do want to include it. That's great. But the fact that there's a separate section now, I like it. I'm like, cool, okay, put my pronouns in there. That's awesome. Bethany has decided her pronouns are daughter of God. She's literally just like, she's not even just criticizing pronouns now. She's not even just saying, I'm not going to use them. She's literally saying, I'm going to outright mock them. And it's kind of gross, I think. Stop using religion as a shield for your bigotry. So many people are religious and good people. So many people are religious and respect people's identities. You are just being nasty. You're not being funny, you're not being clever, you're just being rude. Anyway, I just kind of want to bring this to people's attention because I find it upsetting and I want to talk about how she is wrong because I think it needs to be called out and spoken about and discussed. And this is why I waited so long to make this video, because when I saw her posting all this stuff, it made me so upset and so angry, and I needed time to cool down before I made the video, and now I'm making it, and I'm still upset and angry. It's... Bethany, why do you do this? Okay, I don't know if I've made much sense in this video. I think this may just be an incoherent rant, but I'm going to try and edit it down to something coherent. But please let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. What do you think about Bethany's posts? What do you think about her posting this stuff around Mother's Day and now during Pride Month and everything like that? What do you think we can do to combat these views in people like Bethany? Is it something we can teach her and educate out of her, or is she going to be stuck this way forever? And if you do think we can educate her, what is the best way to reach her? Because I don't know at this point. I really don't know. Anyway, I'm gonna end this here. Thank you for watching today. Thank you for letting me rant. Thank you for sticking around with my content. And I hope you guys are good, and I'll see you again soon.